listening to Ridecast, the podcast of the Widow's Sons Ridings Chapter. Any opinions expressed in this episode do not represent those of the Widow's Sons Masonic Bikers Association UK and Ireland. You can find us on Facebook at Widow's Sons-Ridings Chapter, Instagram at Widow's Sons_Ridings Chapter, at our website ridings.wsmba.uk, and you can contact the show directly by emailing ridecast@hotmail.com. Right, that's the housekeeping over and done with. Kickstands up, on with the show. Hello, and welcome to Ridecast Season 1, Episode 9. Here we are again. This is your host, Yakka, and with me, my usual co-host, I've got Gremlin.
I'm from Russia with love.
And Pigpen. Hello, Pigpen.
Hello there, how are we doing?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks, pretty good. So here we are again. We've got to talk about what we've been doing in the last, 6 weeks since we last recorded? We're getting a bit lax. We're getting longer and longer in between recordings. So, where do you want to start, guys? What do you want to kick off with?
Normally, at the beginning's normally the best.
Yeah, one thing I would like to do straight away out of the starting gate is say a big welcome to Badger and Buzz, our newest patched-in members of the chapter. Yeah,
and welcome Buzz and Badger.
Welcome to Buzz and Badger.
All.
Oh,
Yep.
One other thing I'd like to say at the beginning of the show, top of the show, Lurch, Brother Lurch from the Pilgrims. If you're listening, and we know that you are, and Lurch's wife. Hello, Lurch's wife. How are you? We know he forces you to listen to the Ridecast, so I wanted to say hello.
Yes, we met Lurch at Ride to the Walls, so great to meet you, brother. I know you're a big fan. Every brother that you bought from the Pilgrims, you say, this is Gremlin, Yakka and Pigpen. Nobody had heard from us or of us.
Yeah, so Lurch is the secretary of the Pilgrims. So hello to Lurch and Mrs. Lurch.
Hello to Lurch and Mrs. Lurch.
So, right, so filming at Castle Grove, guys. Do you want to start with that?
Well, I think I'll go and put the kettle on because I wasn't there.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's your twin brother that organised the whole thing. So do you just want to run through what we are talking about here?
The province of Yorkshire West Riding wanted to do a promotional video of Freemasonry to put it on the website, I think it's going to be on, and various other platforms. So people who aren't Masons but might be interested can see what Masonry is about. Not just the ceremonial part in the temple, but also the other spin-offs of Masonry. And I believe that you guys went along in your motorbike outfits.
We did. I think it was about the diversity of the members. So they asked the members that attended and were involved in the filming to turn up and bring along gear that they use in their day-to-day hobbies. So obviously the Widow's Sons turned up in their bike gear. There were Masonic fishing clubs, Masonic shooting clubs. There was a guy there in full rugby gear. There was a brother there in what I hope this is not indelicate, but like mariachi gear, Mexican mariachi gear. So it was to basically show what all the different diverse sort of interests are of Freemasons.
Yeah, there's one brother in his building gear.
Building
Terry.
gear?
Yeah,
Terry Tosselot.
Toss it all.
Yeah. From Vale of Nidlodge.
Am I gonna have to beat that out, do you think?
No. No. Little Tossy.
Little Tossy was there, was Terry. Looked
Yep.
a bit like Road Traders, didn't it?
So they asked us to turn up in lounge suits and bring our Masonic regalia, but also bring our outsider lodge gear along with us. So the first thing we did was we got sorted out with our aprons, all our Masonic regalia. There was a little bit of filming in that foyer, that entrance section where we were all drinking tea and coffee. The Provincial Grand Master came over and stood next to us for a good 5 minutes or so, didn't he, Pigpen?
Yeah.
And he was chatting away with us, which was great because the cameramen were circling us. And I thought, great, we're going to get loads of screen time here with the PGM stood right next to us. So there was that. And then we went into the lodge room and there was a lot of ceremonial. It was the PGM getting, what do you call it? The procession into the lodge.
Process the PGM in and the hierarchy boys. And then they did quite a bit of filming.
That's right, provincial sword bearer and banner bearers and all that. And we're all in our seats around the lodge room, and they said, remember where you sit, because when you get changed into your hobby gear later on, we want you back in the same seats. So they must have filmed that procession in about 6 times from different angles and all that sort of stuff. And then we went out for a bite to eat, didn't we? We had a break, we had a bite to eat, there was some soup on and sandwiches and that sort of thing in the dining room. They filmed us there. I think they were filming us there.
They filmed the Festive board. Me and Gremlin have actually seen the rough copy cut of the filming of it.
All right, how have you got a link to it, or?
No, his brother was at a lodge the other night with his brother.
Right.
And they had it on obviously his brother's in charge of all the
communication stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a sort of rough copy of it.
Wow. How did it look?
It looked good. It looked good, and there was some good footage of us as Masons and Widows' sons, because if you remember when they processed in, we were sat at the side of where the procession stopped.
Exactly. So we'd have been in the background quite a lot then.
So a lot of panning shots of people walking past in front of us. So yeah, there was a good turnout, people on the front row.
And then they asked us to put our gear on, didn't they? Go and get changed. So everyone got changed into their various, shooting gear, rugby gear, mariachi gear. And I think there were, 6 or 7 Widow Sons there? We got our bike gear and our cuts on, back into the lodge room, sat in the same positions, and then they filmed some more footage in there. I think what they're going to do is like a transition of us in our suits through to our bike gear, and then there was a little bit of footage taken outside the front of Castle Grove by a drone, quadcopter drone thing. And they did some shots out there. So that was the first half of the filming. And then 2 weeks later, they asked us to turn up at Squires on the bikes this time. We had a really good turnout there. There must have been about 15 bikes, 12, 15 bikes, something like that. And they filmed us at Squires. You were there this time, Gremlin. So
I was. It was it was very good, wasn't it? It was early starts. Yeah. And then one of the cameramen didn't turn up, so we had to wait like an hour, didn't we, before we could start the filming?
Yeah, and then we followed. They were sat in the back of a car with the boot open, and we basically followed them in a column. It was very odd. We were riding at about 15 mile an hour, which was totally weird. And they wanted us to switch sides, switch positions in the road over and over. And yeah. So anyway, let's see how that turns out. See how it looks.
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting. And they also had a blood biker there, didn't they?
That's right, Brother Lawrence.
Yes,
Brother Lawrence on his blood bike, and they did a bit of filming with him because obviously a lot of Freemasons volunteer as blood bikers in various provinces, so they wanted to show that angle as well. So, from what I could tell, it looked like there should be some good footage captured at Squires as well. So, looking forward to seeing that. Any ideas when it's going to be released?
Next week.
Yeah,
he said next week. That
we said that to me 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, we didn't see the footage of Squires because
we had to rush into dinner.
Gremlin started pressing buttons and that all disappeared, so we didn't get to see that. But
I think I've deleted the only copy in the world.
yeah.
The other bit looked good, and like I say, I think the general my thought of how it looked was, I think it's trying to promote us in the fact of you don't know who you're going to be with. When you're all in Masonic gear, you all look like suits with aprons.
Yeah.
But then the diverse side of it showed you there was a builder, there were some biker lads, there was a guy shooting, there were some golfers, there were, a doctor, there was, and it just shows this varied web of people that you get to sit next to and talk to, who, like you say, is the idea of masonry. You don't know who you're going to talk to.
Yeah.
There's a plumber. Yeah, I do. There's a plumber, there's a pig farmer, there's a doctor, there's a lawyer, and there's a magistrate, and you're all sat on one table having a cup of coffee.
Fantastic, isn't it? Yeah.
You go to your lodge when we went, and you've got our heart surgeon, Jose, sat next to us, and the master of your lodge is and was the main guy in the Yorkshire. In the Yorkshire Air Ambulance sort of thing.
Chief pilot of the Air Ambulance, yes. Brother Steve Wardby, yeah.
Yes.
And you sort of look at him and you think, where else in the world would you be?
Shoulder to shoulder with people like that, yeah.
If you're talking to a heart surgeon normally, you're getting operated on. and if you're talking to the air ambulance, they're picking you up somewhere.
Yeah.
You
To
don't
take you
knock
to the
about.
heart surgeon.
Yeah.
You don't knock about with these people in normal life.
Well, absolutely. When we were filming it, I remember asking, so when can we expect to see the first edition of this coming out? And they were like, beginning of October. Here we are now, heading into November. Still nothing. But I guess there's a lot of work to do, a lot of editing.
There is.
It'll get sorted. It takes me days to just get one of these episodes edited, let alone all the footage they must have filmed. They must have had hours of footage.
Well, obviously at first as well, we didn't know what was going to happen with this footage. Were they going to use it?
Yeah.
With our provincial Grand Master, whose face was the face of the whole thing, has now stepped down, and we are now provincial Grand Masterless.
Yeah. Temporarily.
Between you and me, this goes no further. I have been called for an interview.
Really?
Have you?
Wow! Congratulations, bro.
But
I know what it's for, though. It's not to be provincial Grand Master. The interviews with the police.
So what else, apart from the filming at Castle Grove and at Squires, what else can we talk about? What about that ride we did to the Fewston Farm Shop? That was my ride, if you remember. I found this lovely little cafe farm shop out near Menwith Hill. So we organised a ride. Gremlin, where did we meet that morning? Was it Strawberry Fields, or I can't remember anyway.
No. We met at my office. We met at Morrison's.
Yeah. Some of us met at the A59 McDonald's. Then we went to your office at Wetherby. And then you kindly led us out that back route past the Square and Compass.
Square and Compass, Fewston.
We turned up at the Fewston Farm Shop. And
it was shut.
Discovered it was shut. Yeah.
It was shut. Well, do you think it was COVID related, or they heard we were turning up?
Who knows?
I think it's Yakka related.
If they knew we were turning up, they'd have definitely been open with the amount we spend on tea and cake and sandwiches. So they missed out on a fortune that morning, because we had about 14 bikes out, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was quite a big Diesel met us on the road on the way, and there was quite a few of us out. But luckily, Gremlin, the bright spark that he is, said, there's what was it?
Millstones. We went to Millstones, didn't we?
Couple of miles down the road, and we had some cake, and
they looked a bit shocked though when we turned up, didn't they?
I think they were happy to see us in there,
happy to sit us outside on our own.
Happy to see you leave.
They were very happy to see us leave. And I think some of the others did. There was a bit of retail therapy went on. Didn't House buy some stuff, and I think Tess may have bought some stuff.
Some cheese. There was lots of cheese being bought.
We know the owner well. He's a nice guy.
Well, we must try and get back to that Fewston Farm Shop another time next year.
Yes.
Right. So the next big event was a major annual event for us. It was the Ride to the Wall event. Now, if you don't know what the Ride to the Wall is, listeners, it is an annual pilgrimage of thousands of motorcycles. It's the first Saturday in October every year. Come rain or shine, you will see thousands of bikers heading to the National Memorial Arboretum, and it's where bikers throughout the UK go to pay their respects for the fallen. And the wall, the reason it's called Ride to the Wall is because there is a giant wall, the main centerpiece of the Arboretum, with all the names of people that we've lost since World War II. So it's
World War II,
conflict since World War II.
I think they said there's room for another 19,000 names.
Well, that's the somber thing I find when you look at the wall, and there are all those names on the walls carved in. But then there are some walls that are blank, and that's a sobering thought that those blank walls will eventually be filled with names. So very sad. But we all head there. I think this year, given that it's post-COVID and people are still staying away from big crowds, I think there was about 5,000 bikes there this year.
Yeah, it was still a very good turnout.
Great turnout. I mean, they didn't hold it last year because of COVID. The year before, I believe, the last time it was held, there was about 7,000 bikes. So a turnout.
Yeah, I was there at the last one and this one. And this time I got hypothermia on the way.
It was quite cold, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I made a very silly mistake and didn't wear the right trousers. And,
just run the listeners through what happened that morning, because we didn't go straight to the Arboretum, did we?
No, well, some of us met in Wetherby, then on to Skeleton Lakes, and then the final stopping point was Woolly Edge Services. And from there, we were riding to Tamworth Masonic Hall for bacon sandwiches, tea and coffee. And it wasn't, I don't think it was raining. It wasn't raining when we set off, but it was a chilly morning. And for some reason, I didn't put my winter trousers on. And when we got to Tamworth, when we got off the bikes, got in and started to have a cup of coffee, I couldn't keep the coffee in the mug. It was being flung all over the place.
You had the shakes, didn't you?
And House, who is our resident cardiac surgeon, told me to get back inside because he said, you've hypothermia. He said, I'd gone grey. The shakes were all part of it. And so he took me back into the building, got another cup of coffee, which I managed to keep most of it in the cup, put a hat on, and I did have some waterproof trousers, my nice yellow fluorescents. So I put those on and just started to warm up, but it wasn't really a pleasant experience, I have to say. I mean,
there was a cold wind that morning. It was quite cutting, and obviously cruising down a motorway at 70 mile an hour, you know, the wind chill factor is increased, and
it was like minus 50.
It was Arctic conditions, but we're made of sterner stuff as widow sons. But I met you there with me and Cassio had hooked up at a different location, and met you at Tamworth. But the point was, at Tamworth Masonic Halls, there were multiple chapters meeting there. So we had guys from East and West Midlands.
About 100 bikers, do you reckon?
Yeah, probably 80 to 100 of us there, So we like I said, we had a warm-up there, bacon sarnie, cup of tea. Then John Perridge did a little chat to us all, explained how it's about a 10 to 15 minute ride from Tamworth to the NMA. And they did really well marshalling that, didn't they? They kept us all together in a group. We got to the NMA and we were waved straight past, you know, they stopped all the other bikes and waved us straight in. I don't know how that works, but we didn't park in the field this year, which was kind of unusual.
No, it was good, actually. We parked right in the Arboretum itself.
I wonder why. Do you think it's because the fields were maybe waterlogged or something?
Just for some reason we were taking that way. No, they use the fields as well. So, no, it was good. And then there's obviously a separate service at 1 o'clock for the Freemasons in the Masonic Gardens. And anybody who was there, didn't matter if they're on a bike or not, as if they were a Freemason, they could attend.
There was definitely over 100 of us at the Masonic Gardens. We had
that's where we met Lurch. Another plug, Lurch. Well done.
We had 2 Masonic chains going on there, and we had a little service there for the Widow Sons and any Freemasons present. So that was good. Oh, by the way, I did a lot of filming that day. So there is actually a video on our Facebook page, Widow Sons -Ridings chapter. Go check that out. Have a little scroll through and you will find, if you go to the video section anyway, there's a right to the wall video that we made with us all in. But it was... it's a strange day because you're hooking up with old friends that you haven't seen for a while at the Arboretum, and it's great to see everyone, but there is definitely a somber feeling.
Very somber atmosphere.
People are, you know, thinking about, you know, maybe family and friends. I lost my dad last year, and I went to the memorial for the parachute regiment because my dad was a paratrooper, and I spent 15 minutes on the bench there just by myself in my thoughts thinking about my dad. And do you know, it's fabulous because people wandering by, because there's people wandering all over the Arboretum, you know, and they come over to you and they ask you if you're okay. One lady came up to me and said, do you need a hug, love? Bless her. You know. But obviously a lot of Widow Sons are ex-military and they're there with their berets on and their medals, and really good day. It's not the happiest of occasions, but definitely worth doing. And they, on average, I think they raise a little over £100,000 for charity, which goes to the upkeep of the Arboretum and for
raise good money. Yes, it's good. That's what it's for. Yeah,
installing new memorials and all that sort of stuff. So if you haven't been to the National Memorial Arboretum, go check it out. It
would be nice to go when it's a bit quieter and just spend some time there, perhaps on a sunny day, and feel the warmth and look at all the gardens there, because I think it's quite an incredible place, to be honest.
Well, we were talking earlier today about possible rides next year. That could be
Yeah, something to
possibly
go.
that.
Yeah.
Possible sort of, June or
Yeah,
something like that. Like you say, when
certainly
it's
not staying in that hotel again.
They had a service, didn't they? The main service, and they have a piper playing. Now, how do you guys feel about pipers?
what, bagpiper or
Bagpipes.
yeah, I don't mind them.
I love a bagpipe. I love to listen to a bag. When I hear a bagpiper playing Amazing Grace, just
You like being bagpiped, or
I get a lump in my throat when I listen to a bagpiper. Trust you guys. So anyway, so that was the right of the wall. Let's move on before you guys lower the tone.
What do you mean before?
Yes,
Right, what was the next thing you want to do? Come on.
we've got the patching in of the century.
Yes, well, 2 patching ins, because I don't want to gloss over Badger, because Badger obviously has been riding with us since last year. Anyway, he was, when COVID kicked off, he was riding with us, so he spent a long time qualifying, and Badger, good on him. He met the criteria and was patched in at Pigpen's farm, at our private patching location.
With some fantastic sandwiches and cake, and yes, all in all, extremely good.
Your Emma makes a mean chocolate cake, doesn't she?
Talking of cakes and that, Gremlin, how did Tess like the cake that Emma sent home for her?
She thought it was wonderful.
She thought it was wonderful, did she? Would you like to explain to the listeners what happened to the cake you took home for Tess?
Did it get home?
I ate it.
You ate it, did you?
Yes.
Well, I've got a confession, because Emma wrapped up some of that lovely marshmallow. What do you call that? Rocky Road thing.
Marshmallow.
It's Rocky Road, isn't it? It's got marshmallow in it.
Yeah, it's got marshmallows in it and all that. Is the Rocky Road.
God, call yourself a widow's son, Gremlin. Don't you know what Rocky Road is?
Well, what was the Maltesers?
That was a sponge cake thing.
No, the Maltesers were on top of the chocolate cake.
Yeah.
But the Rocky Road also had Maltesers in it and
marshmallows.
Marshmallow and
well, Emma wraps them up for Vicky. Well, of course, it wasn't until I got home that I remembered Vicky doesn't eat chocolate. She doesn't like chocolate. So
that's funny. I
had to. I had to eat that myself with a cup of tea. So that was delicious. So thanks, Emma. Appreciate that. But anyway, so Badger's ceremony, it was a shocking morning. We set off for the farm and it poured down with rain. But when we arrived at the farm, the skies cleared up a little bit and the rain held.
Badger surprised us on his new bike.
Yes, on his new Triumph Tiger.
Yeah.
Is it a 900 or a 1200 he's got there?
it's a
800.
I think, I'm going to say I think it's like the 850 or whatever it is.
I'm sure I saw an 8
big
on
one.
it.
Yeah, so it's got the full luggage and all that.
Yeah.
Lovely looking bike. Did he trade? He didn't trade in the Harley for that, one, did he?
No.
He's still got the
No, he's looking forward to putting taking off the proper metal tins and putting satchels on it like he did with his Harley.
So congrats to Badger. But then moving on, as Pigpen said, the patching ceremony of the century.
Yep.
Do you want to run it by us, Pigpen?
Well, it set off at one of Gremlin's lodges. We were at the mighty Lassells.
Rhymes with tassels.
At Wetherby.
At Wetherby there. And it was our provincial Grandmaster's final full engagement.
Full provincial,
Yeah.
So he was in attendance with, I think, probably a good 20 provincial officers of different descriptions. We had 3 provincial, not grandmasters, assistant grandmasters there.
The Grand Lodge, all the full provincial team.
Yeah. So it was, very well attended. There was probably a good 100 people in lodge. I think 95 were eating.
Yeah.
And what was the occasion, Pigpen?
Well, it was Buzzy's 3rd degree.
Yes.
So he was being made a full master mason.
Yeah.
Being given the 3rd degree, which is where, incidentally, the saying "given the 3rd degree" comes from. But yeah, it was his raising. He was being raised to the sublime degree of master mason.
Yeah.
And that was the last sort of qualification he needed to be patched into the Widow's Sons, because he'd met all the criteria elsewhere.
But remember, Buzz had already become a member of the chapter, which was decreed back in, was it last year, when anybody who couldn't be raised, and they qualified, could be a chapter member, but not a full Widow Sons member.
Yeah. So we decided, as he was being raised, well, why not patch him in to the chapter after his ceremony at the Festive board? So Gremlin approached his lodge and chatted with them about it, and they gave us permission to do that patching ceremony at the Festive board. And it was a great opportunity to spread the good word about the Widow Sons in front of, as Pigpen said, 90 plus Freemasons that were there. Gives us great exposure and shows Masons what we're all about. How many of us were there? There was about, I think 18 of us. 18 Widow Sons from all over the province attended the ceremony to support Buzz being raised. And then at the Festive board, I was called on to respond to the visitor's toast. So part of my response to the visitor's toast was to explain what the patching ceremony was. And then we were all upstanding. We took our lounge suit jackets off, donned our leather cuts, our Widow Sons regalia, and then we patched in Buzz.
Which I think was absolutely word perfect from the two acting patches members.
Yep.
Gremlin did the obligation and I did the address to the new member.
Yes. And I was the sort of DC and I didn't have to say a word because you were both pretty perfect. So that also looks good.
It was a very good evening. So, and I think if nobody has seen a full provincial visit, try and see one. But then also to have the patching in afterwards was just a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Well, I don't think it'll happen again, will it?
No.
When will that happen again, really?
Not with a provincial grandmaster. Yeah,
you're so lucky to get a provincial visit and to get one on a third, and for that third to be a Widow Son candidate. I think, like you said, that the stars have to align in such a fashion that it's one of those once in a lifetime sort of thing. It will happen again somewhere, but
I think it's fair to say, off the back of that occasion, we have managed to pull in 3 new candidates, haven't we?
I've had applications for three people wanting to join since that, so that was great.
No, everybody I spoke to afterwards, because the assistant PGM came and spoke to me. Did he speak to you, Gremlin?
No.
He came and spoke to me, and he said it was very impressed and what a wonderful.
I think everyone enjoyed it. Everyone enjoyed it because when we finally said "Welcome to the Widow Sons" to Buzz, the place erupted with applause, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think everyone was pretty impressed. So that was a really good occasion. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and also we've just had a clear ballot for another candidate. So Brother Peter, who is yet to receive his road name, we're probably most likely going to be doing his patching ceremony at our chapter Christmas party next month. So look forward to that. That'll be the last patching in ceremony of the year. So how many new members have we patched in this year, Gremlin? Is it 5? I think it's 5, isn't it?
Jag, who have we patched in? Jag. Buzz, Badger,
Diesel into the chapter.
No, but not full Widow Son.
Bandit.
Well, no, he was already Widow Son.
He was already a Widow Son, but we've patched him in to our chapter. So. Yeah, I think it's. I'm sure there's 5. I'm sure we've patched it. If you include Diesel, I think it's 5. Or it will be 5 by the time we do Peter. Anyway, so there you have it. So we've had a busy few weeks, and we've still got the Christmas party to come, and hopefully another patching ceremony in front of us.
Yeah.
Right, there we go. So we're into our next segment in the show. You may recall last month I explained that the 3 of us would each in turn pick a biking hero or icon and do a little discussion, little chat about them, look up some facts and figures, and try and put something interesting together. Now, mine last month was Evel Knievel. This month, it's the turn of Gremlin. And, well, I'll hand over to you, Gremlin. Who is your biking icon stroke hero?
Pigpen.
Thank you.
To be fair, if it was Pigpen, it would be it would be a very interesting discussion, really, because he was telling me lots of things. But anyway, it's actually Carl Foggerty, or as his friends like to call him, Foggy. And it is actually Carl Foggerty Mbe. He was born in the year of most champions that I know, 1965. Anybody else here born in 1965? Oh, I was. So...
You know what that makes you?
Old.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was born in Blackburn, but we won't let that, hold that against him. So he's a good old Lancastrian. And he was active, I don't think they mean sexually, but active in the motorcycling world from 1990 to 1993. I think it says that because I can't
No, he was right. 1980 to 1993, probably.
No, because he won championship in 98 and 99, so...
naysayers.
He was a TT racer as well.
I think Gremlin. Whoa. I think you'll find that his MotoGP racing terms were 90 to 93, which he never did very well at.
Now I've put my glasses on, I can actually see that it says years active in MotoGP. There we go. I can see a lot better now. His years active in MotoGP were 1990 to 1993. And which manufacturers was he racing?
Honda and Kojiva, I think there were.
Yeah, now tell me about Kojiva. What is a Kojiva?
It's a subsidiary of Ducati, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an Italian. And you know who owns Ducati?
Ferrari.
Fiat.
Lamborghini. Who owns Lamborghini?
Ford.
Audi. Who owns Audi?
Where does
VW. So
who owns VW?
So Ducati is basically owned by the Germans now. It used to be Italian, but it's now part of the VW group.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. So he was also Superbike world champion, active years 88 to 2000, riding the Ducati and the mighty Honda. Pigpen, were you more of a fan of his when it was the mighty Honda or the Ducati?
Both, because I remember him going on to the 916 when it was like the brand new 916, and it was this sort of sexy Italian.
Do you know what I remember most about his Superbike riding on the 916 and on the Honda was his battle he had against Kaczynski. Do you remember he had a rivalry with Kaczynski, the little cock from Little Rock, as they know him? But we've got a couple of those in our chapter, but I don't think they live in Little Rock. Anyway, sorry, carry on, Gremlin.
Well, yeah, it's funny you should say that. It was 1997 when he returned to Ducati, finishing second overall to the Honda of John Kokinski. And in 1998 season was his closest title. After a disappointing weekend at the Nürburgring, he lay just sixth in the standings, but fought back to overhaul Corsa and a slight in the final round. And is especially notable as his team Ducati performance managed by David Tardozzi. Do you know him, Pigpen? Was in the first year of WSBK competition. So he started for the Superbike World Championship. He started in 1999. He raced for the Neil Tuxworth Honda UK team in World Superbikes, finishing 7th overall. The team pulled out in 1992, and Foggy nearly found himself without a ride. After a promised deal failed to materialise, he did ultimately take his first WSBK win at Donington Park and finished the championship 9th overall, despite only completing a partial season. The 93 season was the beginning of his era as the factory Ducati rider. He battled with Scott Russell, I know his brother Jack, for the title, winning 11 races to the Americans 5, but losing out on consistency. Russell came, can you believe this? He came second 12 times compared to Foggy's 2 to finish behind him.
Yeah, Scott Russell was a Texan chap with a very slow southern drawl when he talked in interviews. He always looked like he was falling asleep, but obviously a very talented rider. Do you remember the crash helmet with the feathers? Scott Russell had the feathers over the crash helmet. It looked absolutely incredible. But yeah, I remember I was heavily into that era, and I met Frankie Keeley, and I met Haga, and I met Yanagawa obviously Foggy and Jamie Whittam. Yeah, awesome era with the 916s. They were dominating the Ducatis.
Well, that was it. The next year, 1994, when he was on the Ducati 916.
Right, yeah.
And that was hungry to win the title, having been so close the previous season. He missed the Hockenheim race with a broken wrist, but fought back to beat Russell and Aaron Slight to the crown. Winning 6 of the first 8 races in 1995 helped him to seal the title with 5 of 24 races to spare. And he clinched it with 3 races remaining in 1999.
Aaron Slight had a real bee in his bonnet, because I don't know if you remember Pigpen.
It's quite dangerous, that.
What, having a bee in your bonnet?
I had a wasp in my visor once, and that wasn't so good.
He didn't like the fact that the Ducatis, because they were twins, they were allowed an engine capacity up to 1,000 cc, whereas the Hondas and all the other inline 4s, being 4 cylinders, they were only allowed to be 750s. So his argument was that the Ducatis had an engine capacity advantage, whereas the people that ran the World Superbike said, yeah, but you're riding 4 cylinders, these are twins. But the Ducatis definitely had an advantage out of the corners, didn't they? They had that drive, that torque.
They had a lot of grunt, a lot of torque.
Yeah.
They just, it was horses for courses, wasn't it? If you went to a fast flowing track, then you had the 4 inline 4 superbikes were screaming, and
they had the RC45. Can you remember what Honda did as a result of the Ducati's V-twin power?
Didn't they have the V5 then?
No, they did the SP1.
Yeah, that was the GP bike when they did the V5, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, Honda came out with the SP1, which was their take on the Ducati. It was a V-twin, and I think it was quite a potent bike, wasn't it? I don't know if it was ever as good as the Ducati, but yeah, they went down the V-twin route, didn't they? But then at some point further along, they allowed the inline 4s up to 1,000 cc as well, didn't they? It was unrestricted at that point. So what's the history then? He went from the Ducati to Honda briefly, didn't he?
Yeah, he went back in 96. He raced for Tuxworth again, now with Honda factory support, despite winning 4 races that season on the RC45.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of your favourites, Pigpen, the RC45?
They're a very nice bike. A friend did have one. Yeah,
in the Repsol,
very expensive.
In the Repsol colours, the white, green, and red, wasn't it? Sorry, not Repsol, Castrol.
No,
Castrol, white,
Castrol,
green, and red. Yeah.
Repsol's now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
worth a fortune if you've got one.
Are they?
Oh yeah.
So that was it. Foggerty struggled with consistency and finished 4th overall, 16 points behind second place Slight, and 38 points behind champion Troy Crozer. The 97, he went back. Of course, he went back to Ducati, and then 98. What did we say about that?
He won it 4 times. He won it 4 times, didn't he?
Foggerty was forced to retire from racing in 2000 after a racing incident in Phillip Island. Where's Phillip Island?
Australia. He had a crash and broke his arm, I believe, didn't he?
Yeah, he hit privateer Ducati rider Robert Ullman crash. He suffered multiple injuries, including a serious shoulder injury, which failed to heal well enough to allow him to race again. He was replaced at the factory Ducati team by Troy Bayliss. So,
but I mean, to have won it 4 times, that's no mean feat, is it?
No, but he started his first race, or his first victory in any form of racing at Brands Hatch, did not come until 1995. He had much greater successes at Assen, winning all but 1 race there. But where the hell's Assen?
That's where is it? Assen.
Holland. I know you talk out of your Assen quite a bit.
I think, is it Belgium or Holland?
Belgium, Holland, one of those. It was his favourite track, and he always won there. He was always fast around Assen.
Anyway, other races. Isle of Man achievements. Started in the mid-80s. He won the 85 lightweight newcomers event at the Manx Grand Prix and went on to win 3 TT races. First was the 1989 production 750 race, followed by the Formula One and senior events in 1990. He made a total of 26 Isle of Man TT starts, breaking the lap record in 92. His lap at 18 minutes, 18.8 seconds. On a Yamaha 750cc was not broken until 7 years later by Jim Moody from a standing start riding a Honda, mighty Honda. In 1999, taking the record to 124.45 miles per hour. Now, have either of you ridden the Isle of Man course?
No, I wish.
Yes.
I'd love to. Oh, have you been around it?
Yeah.
On Mad Sunday or?
We used to go regular over there.
But did you go there racing, or was it as a normal rider going round?
No, just on on Mad Sunday, and when you could actually ride the circuit.
Just explain to Gremlin what Mad Sunday is, because he won't know what that is.
I do, of course I know what it is. Every Tuesday they do it, don't they?
On Mad Sunday every Tuesday.
Yeah, it's when they let anybody with a bike have a go around. That's why it's got. It's probably when the most deaths occur as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Usually.
So from that point of view of doing 18 minutes, what did you do it in, Pigpen?
Well, it's very rare you get a full clear run because somebody tries to kill himself at every corner. So it's forever getting red flagged and stopped. But we have had a couple of good runs at it, and to even get 100-mile-an-hour average lap is pretty hard going.
Yeah.
You know, there's some corners on there where you're down to, 5-6 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour going around a hairpin. And to pick that speed back up, you've got to be doing 160, 170 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's a
now
difference.
you made a comment. You made a comment about the Ducatis and how they were good for the proper, tracks.
Yeah.
How would they be at the Isle of Man?
I think they're good for tracks with lots of corners, and I think the Isle of Man does have a lot of corners, but it has a lot of straight sections out at the mountain.
It's a very fast course.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. A good man on a good bike can ride it. I think I never liked V-twins, but my mate who I rode with all the time, he loved the V-twin side.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I like my inline four.
I don't think the fastest riders around the Isle of Man are riding V-twins, are they?
No, they're on they're on the Japanese inline four stuff, the Suzukis.
Yeah, the R1s, the GSXRs, and the Fireblades.
Yeah, is where it's at. So I think that sort of proves that course isn't particularly
suited to the V-twins.
No, but then you look at the V-twins speed-wise, and you see them doing stuff, and you think, well, they've got the speed. I suppose it's just
So is that the end of his career there then? Or?
Well, not really. Bits and pieces. He made several starts in MotoGP, filling in for Pia Francesco Chile.
Yeah, Frankie Keeley.
On an ROC bike for a while in 19. What's an ROC?
That rings a bell. I should know what that is.
Was that just like the racing stable, like, Taiko Suzuki's ROC?
I think it might have been, yeah. It might have just been a team, a racing team. We'll stand correct. If you know, listener, drop us an email, let us know.
Yeah.
I think he did the Northwest 200, didn't he?
He what, sorry?
He did the Northwest 200.
Yeah, bear with, listener. In 1992, he teamed with Terry Reimer and Michael Simmel to win the 24 hours Le Mans race.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How do you think we could compare doing a full 24-hour ride? Would we like that?
No.
Fine enough in a car. Can you imagine doing 8 hours?
Flat out on a bike.
Yeah,
what do they
do?
No, you do 2 hours on, 3 hours, 4 hours off, something like that.
If there's 3 of you, it's going to be 8 hours in total, 24 hours.
What you normally do is a fuel stop, don't you?
Yeah.
So you keep going till your fuel gets down to, and then as you come in, you get off, and as the fuel up, somebody else gets on. So you're maybe doing 20, 25 minutes.
Oh, right. Okay.
As short as that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You'd be going through fuel. You're hammering like that. You're not. It's not like riding the mighty Harley Davidson. There, it's.
No, I suppose not. So other wins included the Bowl d'Or.
Right, France.
They went on to win the FIM Endurance World Championship for Kawasaki. Thus, along with 4 World Superbike Championships, he holds the aggregate of 5 World Championship titles. Running for Ducati, Foggerty finished second at the 1995 Daytona 200 United States. Scott Russell, I know his brother Jack, I think I've said that before, crashed during the first lap of the race, but was able to remount and pass Foggerty for the win. That sounds a bit... You'd be a bit hacked off with that, wouldn't you? If somebody crashed their bike, managed to still come past you. Sounds like me and Pigpen. Yes, he normally stops for a cup of tea and a sandwich. He can still beat me. Anyway, so where are we? So Foggy said that the pace car, this was his excuse. Foggerty said that the pace car regrouping following the yellow flag allowed Russell to close the gap significantly. Nice one, Foggy.
Yeah. Well, when the pace car is out, you're supposed to slow down.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott Russell obviously didn't.
Yeah. Foggerty won the Ulster Grand Prix race in 1988, and then a year later he won the King of the Road senior race, setting a new lap record in the process, a speed of 121.629 miles per hour. In 93, Foggy won both superbike races at the Northwest 200. Is that Lancashire way, the Northwest 200 there, Pigpen?
It's Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, bit further west.
I think he was riding now a Moto Cinelli Ducati 888.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Pre 916, that isn't it? Pre 916. Carry on.
In race 1, he beat the Dunlop brothers, Robert in second and Joey third. And in race 2, he was again ahead of Robert second and Philip McCallan in third. He also set a new lap record of 122.491. So Foggerty rode a Harris Yamaha 500 GP bike in 92 to victory in the Macau Grand Prix. So what would a Harris Yamaha be? Is it a team owned by somebody called?
It's at Harris. Harris made custom frames.
Yep.
So they put a 500 two-stroke, which will have been like the
RD 500, wouldn't it?
The RD 500 engine and running gear into a Harris frame.
Well, if we want to find out what he did post-racing, in 2002, Ducati released a special limited edition model. Only 300 units were built in his honour, and it was the Monster S4 Foggerty.
Oh, right. They released, didn't they release a special Foggerty edition 916 as well? With the foggy eyes on the front, and they were not, I think they did 200 of them, and they attached a numbered little bronze plate to the top yoke, and
telling you which number you were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it was like the SPS 916 SPS version. That's the top of the range one, single seat.
Well, in 2002, he founded the Foggy Petronas team in the World Superbike Championship. They entered with Carl's former teammate Corser and James Hayden in 2003, but the 3-cylinder Petronas FP1, I thought that was a spell from Harry Potter, was never truly competitive. He was never a person to stray away from controversy in the superbike paddock, and even in retirement. He frequently voiced his opinion, most often in the British motorcycle newspaper MCN, in which he often berates past rivals such as Troy Corser and Neil Hodgson. This attitude towards other racers has made him a love or hate personality in the motorcycling world. Now, what else is he famous for?
Well, there's one other thing he won that he was a champion of.
Yep.
He was the king of the jungle.
He was. Do you know what year that was?
Wow. Was it something like 2010 or 2012? No. Or?
It was the 14th series in 2014.
Was it? Right. Okay.
Yeah. The final saw him challenged to eat a large cupful of live mealworms, which he managed in 3 mouthfuls. 2 fried tarantulas, 3 live cockroaches, ostrich anus, and a camel's penis. In fact, I ticked 3 of those from a Christmas meal.
Yeah, he was popular, wasn't he? I think the public liked him. He's quite a down-to-earth character, is Foggy. I've met him a couple of times, and he's a lovely chap. But yeah, he's upset people. He had, like I say, he had this big rivalry against Kaczynski.
Yeah.
That was quite nasty. Him and Aaron Slight hated each other as well.
Yep. He's a patron, which is quite interesting, as from the widow's son's point of view. He's a patron of a local charity in Northwest Blood Bites, Lancs and Lakes, and he'll be opening their headquarters in December 2017. So there's tie in there, because obviously there's quite a few Freemasons and the widow's sons that are blood bikers. Now, I actually met him once. I was at a charity evening over at the Bolton Wanderers Stadium, and he was one of the guests there, and one of my colleagues grabbed him and brought him over to our table to introduce us, and he was extremely pleasant. So, Foggy, thank you, and keep eating the mealworms.
Good, nice, well done. And here we are again, guys. It's time for
Email Corner.
And this is the section of the show where we read out communications from listeners. So, Pigpen, do you want to kick us off this month?
Yes, right. I have got one. To the Ridecast crew, just watching the episode about movie motorcycles on YouTube. So I don't know if you want to just quickly mention that.
Oh, yes. Yeah, very quickly jump in there. Yeah, we have created a Ridecast channel on YouTube because it's come to our attention that a lot of people aren't sort of savvy with the podcasting platforms. So I thought I will upload all our back catalogue onto YouTube because people are a lot happier to, you know, some of the more older listeners are more happy to use YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, search for Ridecast channel, I think so far I have uploaded the first 4 episodes. And the good thing about the YouTube version of the episodes is they include photographs of what we're talking about while you listen. So there are visuals at the same time. So anyway, there you go. Ridecast channel on YouTube. Back to you, Pigpen.
Excellent. Right. Did Gremlin ever get round to watching The World's Fastest Indian?
No, but funny you should say that. When this comes out, I will more than likely have been to America because I am flying on Monday, the 8th of October. I am flying to Salt Lake City. November, sorry, Monday the 8th of November to Salt Lake City. And I have just downloaded The World's Fastest Indian to watch on the plane.
Ah, very good.
Excellent. Oh, well, if we remember, we shall ping back to this then. Second part was, and how did he end up at the Naval Training Base in Maryland that featured in An Officer and a Gentleman? Now that's from Regards, Phil.
Well, Phil,
Phil.
Back in 1986, I was dating a girl whose father was, I think he was in the Secret Service. He was based over here in Harrogate at RAF Menwith Hill, which is it's really an American listening base. And he was posted back to Washington, D.C., and the family moved over to a place called Crofton in Maryland, which was very close to where the officer and a gentleman location of the Annapolis Naval Academy, which is on the East Coast. And we went there for a day, went to a restaurant and had a look at the Naval Academy. So there you go. That's how I know exactly where it was and where it is. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Phil, for your question.
Yeah, cheers, Phil. What have you got, Gremlin? Have you got a message?
Gremlin, I think you are fantastic. I think you're great too.
Who was that from, yourself?
Yeah, lots of love, Gremlin. Oh, there you go. Right. Dear Email Corner and hello to Ridecast. A question about the Scout Gala. Do the Sons use events like that to raise money? If so, how much did you raise? Thanks, Jason.
No, we didn't. We don't do collections, do we, at that type of event? All the money we raise comes from within Freemasonry and from within the Widow's Sons. We don't rattle, boxes at people.
We were there really to promote Freemasonry within the province, and the Eldwick Gala is in the province of Yorkshire West Riding. But it was also, we were there because we had actually raised money for the Guidance Scout Hut, hadn't we? And we were handing over a check, and that's why we were there. Yeah.
So short answer: no, we don't raise money at events like that. We raise all our charity fundraising is from within our organisation.
I have another question. Oh no, sorry, I'll let somebody else have a go.
Okay, I'll do one here. I've got one here. It says, "Dear," this is directed at me, so this is why I've kept hold of this one. It says, "Dear Yakka, given that Evel Knievel was one of your biker idols, did you ever fancy yourself a stunt rider? And did you attempt any stunts of your own? And in brackets, when you were a younger rider, of course. Love the show. All the best, Alan." So Alan, I loved Evel Knievel. When I was a kid, I had the toys and watched all the jumps on TV. As far as being a stunt rider myself, I did a couple of ramps on my grifter back in the early 80s. We were all jumping our grifters in those days. But as far as stunts goes, yeah, I did a few little stunts when I was in my early 20s, and I was long before I was a Freemason. I used to do the more like the Gary Rothwell style stunts, and if you don't know what that is, that's the big superbike stunts where you do rolling burnouts, donuts, pop wheelies, stoppies, all that sort of stuff. If you really want to see it, there is a video on YouTube. If you look it up, it's called Motorbike Stunts in Yorkshire, and I feature in a couple of the wheelies and burnouts on that video.
Now, I bet Pigpen's done some stunts in his time.
Pigpen's done some ramps. He's jumped cars.
You have,
and all
haven't
sorts,
you?
haven't you, Pigpen?
We did have a session as youths on the farm. I used to have a black Mini, which we used to rag around the fields. And I also had back then it was a Honda XL 250S was the bike I had when I think I was 14. And it was just before the Yorkshire show, the night before the Yorkshire show, and a friend was staying over and we were off to the show the next day. And we'd got this ramp set up, which was basically a scaffolding plank and a 40-gallon steel drum. And we had it on its edge, and I was jumping over that. And I thought, well, that's great. Then we stood the plank up, stood the barrel upright, and I was going over that, and that was getting further. And then he said, you'd clear the car. You'd clear it, height at car there. So we then put the Mini in front of it, and I was jumping over the top of it, and he kept moving the barrel back a bit and back a bit and back a bit. And I suppose being young, you didn't really have the common sense to realise distances and speeds need to all start to increase and alter and all this anyway. I remember hitting the ramp and he hadn't set it up right, and the barrel...
How fast were you going?
Oh, probably 40, 45. And the ramp was quite steep because he'd put the barrel too far down. And as I went over it, it flipped the plank, which then flipped round and hit the back of the bike, which then put the bike upside down. So we were basically trying to do a loop as well.
Yeah.
But that didn't land very well.
So you landed on your, did you land on your back with the bike on top of you then? Or?
On top of the car.
Yeah. Oh.
How was
I hit the top of the car.
What got the worst damage then?
My wrist. Yeah, that was smashed.
Oh, God.
So it was off to hospital and...
Just like Evel Knievel.
Did you go to the Yorkshire show?
Yes, managed to get to the Yorkshire show, but I remember I had to leave at 2 o'clock from the show because I had to go back to hospital to have it pinned.
Did you miss that event that you normally take part in at the Yorkshire show?
What's that?
Cock of the North.
Yeah. So anyway,
you might be thinking it's always been discussed, but that is actually it's a horse riding event. It's called Cock of the North.
It is.
Yeah. I know.
Apparently, Pigpen just dropped his trousers and was disqualified.
So so that was the end of your stunting career then, was it? Or
as full on stunts went, after that we went into motocross and sort of enduro, which was always obviously you jumping and doing stuff there. But I tended to try and stay away from the showboating then, because showboating hurts.
Right, who's got the next missive?
I've got one. It says, "Dear Y, G, and P." I had to think about who the hell's Y, G, and P. I won't realise it's Yakka, Gremlin, and Piggy Penny. Where does the term fishtail come from, or fishtailing come from, and what does it mean? And what's the best way to remedy if it happens? Well, I think I can answer that one to start with. The first time I fishtailed, I just got my street bob. So I'd gone from an 883 to a 1.6 litre engine. And I was coming to the A64 at Bilborough. And I came on and I revved it. And the next thing I know, the back end's spinning round. And I think, oh, how? So, of course, what to do, I turn the wheel straight into it and the back end goes around again. And then I thought, I think what I need to do is just take my hand off the accelerator, not touch the brakes, and see if it straightens up. And of course it did. So What causes it? Well, normally they say it's to do with losing traction that makes it sway back and forth. And it's probably, if there's a bit of moisture, leaves. What do you think?
Yeah, a bit heavy-handed on the throttle, maybe wet surface, diesel, slippery, wet leaves. If you can imagine the way a fish swims and its tail goes backwards and forwards, imagine a motorcycle doing the same thing, and that's a fishtailing motorcycle. Very scary when you're on board when that's happening. Yes,
it was scary. So I think what they say, stay calm, generally turn the wheel in the direction of the skid and ease off the accelerator. Pigpen, you probably like fishtailing.
No, it happens a little bit on the mighty Honda V-twin with it having so much grunt to put down. That can spin up. Yeah, not good.
Was there a second part to that?
Yes. So this is from Barbara, and she actually says, "How old do I have to be to qualify for Pigpen Pals?" Yours, Barbara brackets Babs.
That's a good question. What do you think the cutoff is for that?
Put it this way, Barbara. If you were born in the 40s, I think you're okay. Anything over that, you're probably underage. So think about it. 70s, really? I think we're drawing the line there in the 60s. So if you're in your 70s, you're fine. You can be a Pigpen Pal. But Barbara, don't know if you're right, but two very good questions actually.
Have you got anything else?
I have just got one more, and this is from Steve. Now, I'm presuming Steve is not a Mason. Hi guys, quick question. What is a festive board?
It is the meal after the part in the temple, after the ceremony.
Yeah, so
yeah.
We have what we call a lodge night. Yeah. So we go to lodge on our night, and we have a part of it is, it's sort of divided into two halves, isn't it? We have a ceremonial side, which is, based on little plays from the days gone by of how things were done. And that's done in what we call our temple. And then afterwards, we have what we call a festive board, which is a good old sort of basic meal, usually of, a starter, a main course, a pudding and possibly cheese and biscuits, where everyone sits pretty much round in a big sort of, not quite circle, but, you're all very similar position next to people.
Yeah, we do a lot of toasting.
Yeah, a lot of chit-chatting.
And we don't mean sticking bread on a fork and putting it in a fire, not that type of toasting.
No, we stand up, we sit down, we stand up, we sit down.
But it's the social side, it's the fun side, it's where you stuff your face and have lots of drink.
Yeah, but it's what we call the level of masonry again, isn't it? You're sat again next to a heart surgeon on your left, you've got a solicitor on your right, there's a builder across the other side of the table.
Those two get around a lot, the solicitor and the heart surgeon, don't they?
They do, they're everywhere.
They do. I've always thought that festive board sounds like a Christmas thing, doesn't it? A festive board. I don't know where it's originated from, that title, rather than just, dining. But that's essentially what it is. It's the dining room, it's the drinking, it's the eating, and it's the social.
Yeah, there's wine and port and food, tea and coffee, and it's just like you say. It's a bunch of jolly boys having some good simple fare usually.
Yep.
So thank you for that. What was it?
That was from Steve.
Steve, was it? Cheers, Steve. Gremlin, is there anything from the postman this month? From the PPPs.
Newsflash. Email has just come into Pigpen Pals. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe this. Somebody called Hilda. Hilda has just emailed me. She said, "I'm sorry for not emailing you earlier on," but she says, "I'm very old and frail, and my daughter, age 75, has just come to help me." Hilda says she started riding motorbikes in the early 1900s, and she wished that she'd had a Pigpen back then, as it would have been fun going round the country as a motorbike tandem. And she also says she has a motorized commode and she has named it her Pigpen commode.
Right.
Excellent.
So there you go.
Thanks,
I don't
Hilda.
have to feel honoured or
Repulsed.
She says when she opens up the commode, she has a little picture of a Pigpen.
Oh dear. Right. I think
excellent.
I think we need to. I think we need to sign off before Gremlin gets a bit carried away. I'd just like to say, guys, don't forget, please keep your emails coming in, keep your messages coming in, because it's great to have a little bit of contact with the listeners. Don't forget to head to our new YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out the Instagram. I'm not sure if there's anything new on it. There rarely is. The Facebook page.
Gremlin.
The Facebook page. And next month, we will be doing the final episode of season 1. It'll be episode 10.
Special.
And we will be discussing our
Christmas
party. And I think the plan
is...
Don't tell
them. Don't tell them. It's just...
Oh, is it a secret?
It's just going to be different.
Okay. So this is Yakka signing off for Ridecast. We'll catch up with you next month.
And it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from me.
There you go.
Thank you very much, boys.
We'll catch up with you next month. Bye, everyone.
Bye.